All right, so I've got four phones here. I've got an older iPhone 6. I've got a Google Pixel 3. I've got a Galaxy S9, and then I've got one of the newer Galaxy S21s. And this is my new phone. It's a Galaxy S21 Ultra 5G. So I've got these four phones here, and really what I wanted to show was kind of the change and evolution in phones over time. And on the lower end of the spectrum, we've got phones from a little over 3 years ago now. And I used to have a Galaxy Note phone that was like a Galaxy Note 5, and then I didn't have one for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden they've really just kind of outpaced everything very quickly. But I've been a big fan of the Samsung Note phones, and they eventually have just kind of merged the lines and merged the Galaxy Notes with the regular S series. So anyway, let's look at the iPhone real quick. And both the iPhone and the Google Pixel have been kind of like lower end phones. My Google Pixel phone I've had for 3 years, and it was just kind of like a budget buy. And it has not really been as incredible as I kind of hoped it was. It's still together. It had the fingerprint sensor on the back here, which if you don't have a case for it, it's hard to even find where that fingerprint spot is. So without the case, it was kind of difficult to find that. Otherwise, the phone was kind of a nice form factor. It was small and slim and everything. But unfortunately, like the Google Pixel phone, their whole series, all the way, they're on Google Pixel 5 now. None of the Google Pixel phones have really been incredible phones. They're, very, very basic. I thought I was gonna, see some incredible new features from Google getting on the Pixel 3, and I never saw them the whole time that I had it. The best thing about it was Google Photos, and I thought I'd see something special with their AI, and there's really just nothing special about a Google Pixel phone. They're just so incredibly basic. The camera, the storage, everything is just incredibly basic. There's nothing special about the Google Pixel phone, so I don't really recommend them at all. And I kind of feel the same way about the iPhones. They're just kind of basic, a little bit behind in the times. And then you look at phones like the Samsung. Any of the Samsung phones, the Note phones are kind of like the leading edge. The S series phones from Samsung are really kind of like the middle ground for consumers, where they're really nice, they're kind of cutting edge, they've got new features, their camera's really nice. This one was, at least 3 years old, so almost as old as these guys. And yet, if you're gonna trade in, this phone is still worth like 700, and these are worth, 300 or so each. So as far as the trade-in value, the only one that's really kept the trade-in value has been the Samsung S9. And the other thing about my Google Pixel phone, just the battery was dying, and I ended up having to realize that I needed to upgrade. And you can't replace the battery in this phone, so the best thing you can do is just to actually buy a better phone like a Samsung. So if you're thinking about upgrading, getting a new phone or something like that, I highly recommend going with a Samsung phone, even if you're just getting like a consumer, S series phone. any of the Samsungs are incredible. They're, you know, cutting edge, leading edge, good components. They last long, and they're the only ones that really are worth the money. But the other thing I wanted to show off is, you know, you look at the size of the phones, and this Samsung, the S21, is it's a very thick and beefy phone. And I also happened to get a stylus that came with it. And so that basically means that this is, my Samsung phone is now a complete replacement for the Note line of phones. And they actually recommend that if you're going to get a Samsung phone and you want a stylus, not to go with the Note 20, but to go with the Samsung S21, which is, it's not typically supposed to be, you know, the line of phone with the stylus, but you can get a case that actually just has a little slide for the stylus. And but, you know, overall, the S21, you look at the amount of cameras that they've built in, you know, just in the last 3 years. You've got, you know, flash, two telephotos, and you know, all the other types of cameras that you're getting in there, and, you know, up to like 100x zoom, which I've tried that, but the 100x zoom is really not as impressive. And you know, they say it's 108 megapixel for the camera, which is, you know, that is somewhat noticeable. Other than that, you know, you can't really notice any other real upgrades from the cameras, even though there's just an incredible suite of sensors for the cameras. But I mean, other than that, you know, the new S21 that I got is just incredibly beefy. It's a very, very thick phone, but you know, it is very responsive, takes really good photos, and you know, it's very powerful for anything that I'm trying to do, and the screen is nice and big. Only problem I guess I'd say about it is just that, you know, it being in your pocket, you know, it does take up a good amount of space in your pocket, and you know, it's kind of like having a brick in your pocket. So I guess that's the only thing that I'd really say that's kind of a detriment to it. But I mean, other than that, it is like a full computer. But, you know, the other thing is, I was considering getting one of the new Galaxy Fold phones. But you know, the technology behind them is really just not as robust. They highly recommend that if you're going to get one of the Fold phones, that you know, either the Flip or the Fold 3, they recommend, if you actually go into the store, getting insurance on it, because there's a good chance that it'll break, because mechanically every single time that you open and close it, you're basically you know, bending those hinges, and potentially, you know, that screen can break. The other thing is the Galaxy Fold phones, even though it's like, you know, one contiguous screen, there's that hinge there in between the two phones, and if you're actually trying to write between the two parts of the screen on the hinge, which, I mean, it's like right in the center, so anything that you're going to actually try to do, you're always going to be passing back and forth if you're trying to, you know, center anything over the hinge. And so eventually, you know, you're just writing over that hinge, and there's like these two bumps there where you can feel the two parts of the hinge. And I really just didn't like that. You know, it's like kind of having a phone, but or it's kind of like having a you know, Samsung Note, but, you know, having a speed bump in the middle that you're always kind of passing over. And so when it comes to actually drawing and doing stuff with it, that seemed like a very big detriment as far as being able to draw and do things with it. So if you're trying to draw with it, you know, getting a Samsung Note, or getting, the new S21 Ultra and then being able to do a stylus with it, that seems a lot more practical, a lot more functional, a lot more reliable than trying to go with one of the fold phones that are, the Fold 3 is like $2,000 for a phone, and then you're getting this huge hinge in the middle of it. And so that's why, ultimately, if you're ever going to go with a new phone and, you're trying to compare all these different vendors, I highly recommend, a Samsung, but I wouldn't go so far as, to be crazy and just go with one of the Fold or the flip phone. They look cool. They're not going to last you very long. And they recommend that you get insurance on it. So go with a Samsung, get an S21. I don't really recommend Apple's or the Google Pixel phones or anything like that. Really, if you're getting a new phone, just go with a Samsung and get like a S21 or wait for S22 when it comes out. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful, and yeah, if you have any other questions or comments or anything you want to see in the video, let me know in the comments, and have a good day.